Hey everyone, let's wait here a minute. Let some folks get in. We got some good news to talk about this evening. So let's see how we do here. Going to do a couple of push notifications. Let some people know. Not a new message. And bear with me, so we got some folks will be coming in there. There we go. So we should be seeing some stuff here soon. There we go. Anyway, we got some good news tonight, folks. I'm Ron. Gray Wolf is my handle, and so here about a little over a year ago, I started with a convoy out of California that went to Washington D.C. And our objective when we got to D.C. and along the way was to end the state of emergency that was calling for all of the mandates. It was taking away our constitutional rights and funneling money into being used to funnel money into big pharma, hospitals, and a whole lot of things. And so it's been tenuous. It's been interesting to say the least. But let's see, back in March, on March 8th, I went to the Senate as part of a delegation, and we met with senators. And then right after this meeting, went across to the House, and we met with congressional leaders as well to discuss what it is that the country is going through. And so, and more to the point, what can we do to make change? So since then, I had been working with individuals in the House and in the Senate, asking questions. Had a very good one-on-one time with Senator Cruz, and have emailed back and forth with Senator Ron Johnson, and so there's been a roller coaster of ups and downs, but people just don't understand. They say, well, the mask mandates are pretty much gone. Well, it's not just about the mask mandates. You had the jabs. You have all of these different things that were being utilized. I just got a message from Tana, so nice. So, yeah. So Tana Gortz is talking to me on text messaging. So anyway, the objective has been to end the state of emergency. Well, it is ending. So when I show you what I have been showing you, if you've been monitoring me for any length of time, you'll know that I've been pushing people on HJ-Res 46 for a year. HJ-Res 46, HJ-Res 46. Pelosi wouldn't do anything with it. And so as a result, it went into a discharge petition. And when it went into the discharge petition, the fight became, while I was on the walk, let's get congressmen on this and let's get this up to 218. And then in November, the election takes place. We lose. We get a lame duck in the 117th. So it was time to come home, take care of my shoulder surgery, and put together what's next. Well, folks, what came out of the 118th was HJ Res 7. Now, I've been talking about HJ Res 7 for a little, for a while now here in this new 118th. So this is the 118th Congress put together by Paul Gosar from Arizona, Republican, to end the state of emergency. And it utilizes Section 202 of 50 U.S.C. 1622 to end the state of emergency created that back in March of 2020. So this is great news. This is fantastic news. So it passed the House on February 2nd. I'll show you the actions here. And they haven't updated the website since this happened. This literally happened hours ago. It went from the House over to the Senate back on the 2nd of February. And then yesterday, and it was in the Committee of Finance, stuck. And we've been asking the question, why? Why is this stuck? Because Senate Resolution 63 back in November was passed overwhelmingly. And so it was an interesting delay. Well, they released it from that committee. They discharged it yesterday afternoon and placed it on the calendar. Well, that calendar was today, and it passed. The Senate has passed it 68 yeas to 23 nays. And it gets better because all along we have been saying, well, what are we going to do when, what are we going to do if we get the House and the Senate and the resident just vetoes it? Well, then we have to go back and try and back to the House and try and get it up to a supermajority there, or a veto power, get the veto replaced, overruled. I'm just tongue-tied after all this. So that's been a concern. The resident's just going to veto it. We're going to have to go and do more fighting. Well, guess what? The Hill reports just a couple of hours ago that Senate Majority Leader Charles Schumer told Democrat senators on Wednesday that the Biden administration will sign it. He said that although they were looking to end it in May, if the bill comes to his desk, however, he will sign it. Big win. Big win. Huge win. This is absolutely phenomenal for us. This is a winning of the battle, folks, but this is not a winning of the war. This is not a winning of the war. Now, the state of emergency was abusing the 1976, September 12th, 1976 National Emergencies Act. It was abusing that act. So at any moment in time, the resident could just simply call another state of emergency. And we're right back where we started. So we've been talking with senators and congressmen on either replacing the National Emergencies Act, or if able to amend the act so that it can that act could no longer be abused. No longer be abused like they have abused it for these last 3 years. So the fact is, this was the number one item on my agenda list, and it's checked. Number 2, change the National Emergencies Act or replace it, repeal and replace. And then, number three, hold those who have been abusing the state of emergency accountable for their actions. People have died because of this. People and organizations have profited by the billions because of the state of emergency that we've been under. So we need to hold them accountable. So this is step one. This, as I have explained it, I explained it in the Senate chambers back then that it was a foundation. The state of emergency was a foundation. And the building being built upon this foundation of the mask mandates, the jab mandates, the Title 42 actions, the given our medical sovereignty to the WHO, that'll never happen. All of this was tied to this damn state of emergency. And you really couldn't even fight for your constitutional rights because of the state of emergency. And so this has been such an important deal to end the state of emergency. Now it's passed the House, it's passed the Senate, and now it goes to the resident for his signature, and he says that he won't veto it. He says that he will sign it. So this is action that I expect to see hopefully by the end of this week, if not by the middle of next week, and that we will see this battle is complete. The next piece is up front. This is where we go. Now, you've all seen what's been going on in France. Macron has turned into a dictator, and he is an authoritarian that's just going after his people, just taking the citizens of France, just knocking them down. And they have been protesting. They have been protesting to beat the band by the millions. Now, this was the exact same thing that I was attempting to achieve with the Gray Wolf Walk. And I started on July 2nd after having a conversation with Senator Ted Cruz. And Senator Cruz said, "Don't give up, Ron. Keep up the fight." And so I've been doing everything mentally capable that I'm capable of doing to try and figure out. And he said, you need the people. The people of France are showing us what it is that we in the United States need to do. We need to put the pressure on. They're trying to come after our guns. They're trying to shove this transgender movement down our throats. I don't have a problem with gay people. I don't have a problem with LGBT. Not at all. Not at all. I have friends that are gay. No problem. But when you start trying to force it upon me, my family, and my children, grandchildren, then we have a problem. And this is where the trans and the drag movement, it seems to be an up in your face. Let's not worry about going into World War III. We're just going to go ahead and push this woke agenda to worry about pronouns. Now, I have to say, my deepest condolences go out to those who lost family members for the loss of their loved ones in Nashville the day before yesterday, and for all of those that had to witness that horrific act. What I say, though, about the shooter, she is not the victim. She is not the victim. She does not bear a right to have proxies in the form of other trans groups, I should say, not others, and the media trying to do correction. And I talk to the New York Times that they want to put out and say police officers are calling her calling this trans person a she, a woman, when in fact is a trans male. Look, 1,000 years from now, they dig up the bones of this person who I won't even give them the honor of a name, and they dig these bones up. What are they going to find? they're going to find that there was a female buried there, not someone who had pronouns of he, him. Okay? We have a mental instability in this country that is just going like wildfire. And that is the problem. That is one of the problems. The number one problem is the evil. The evil that these people are bringing to the table. We are seeing the t-shirts, the t-shirts of trans rights. Well, let me stop for just a moment there. Trans rights. Now, I'm an older white male, if you haven't figured that out. I would just like to know what rights that I have that a trans doesn't have. Can somebody explain that to me? No, they can't. But they're angry. And they're saying that we, on the right side of conservatism, are out to commit genocide. No. Keep it away from the children. You put it in the face of our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and the lion inside of us is going to come out. The mama bear inside of the moms are going to come out, and we're going to fight you. Whatever you do behind your doors at night, have at it. Freedom of choice, after all. But when you start bringing it to our children, our grandchildren, and our future, and you start indoctrinating, you start mutilating, giving 12-year-olds taking surgery and having their mammary glands removed. This is crazy. Crazy. Then the drag queen story hours. Really? They have to go away. This is a mental breakdown in society, and we need to address it. It's not genocide. You're not losing rights. And trust me, you're not protecting your trans children. You cannot tell me that a 2-year-old knows if they're born a woman or a female that they want to be a male. You can't tell me that. No, what I see is I see a delusional parent or parents, plural. They're the ones that need to be dealt with. Take that child away from them, that's what I say. Put them in a loving family and let them be children. Teach them, nurture them, love them, teach them God. But don't you dare take a scalpel to them. Putting them in front of men shaking their junk, calling themselves women. I saw one today where a young lady was sitting in a chair and one of those trans straddled her and sat in her lap with a G-string on. Sickening. Absolutely putrid. Another one out there today of a trans in a woman's bathroom masturbating in the mirror and videotaping it. This is a mental problem. We need to treat it as such. It's not a gun problem. When I was growing up, I could take my .22 loaded, and I could take it into my school and have show and tell. Back in the 60s, there wasn't any school shootings. But you know what's interesting in the gun statistics? There was more guns per capita of the United States then than there is now. Why do we have this? We didn't have it back then with more guns in the families. More families with guns. Every pickup truck in high school had gun racks in the back of them with their guns loaded in the gun racks. So this is their agenda. Their agenda is to distract us. Now, there's some questions I have about what happened in Nashville. How is it that two individuals, not one, but two individuals who were at different shootings around the country just so happened to be there in Nashville to put their face on camera? There's some questions to be answered there. I'll leave that at that. These are all pieces of the war. The government is not going to leave us alone. The government, as we see it today, they're after our rights, they're after our freedoms, our liberties, they're after everything. These are the same people that say, buy an EV, buy an electric vehicle. Electric vehicles blow up when the saltwater intrusion hits a lithium-ion battery. Google what happens to lithium-ion when it comes in contact with H2O or extreme heat. Google it. You'll see an instantaneous eruption from either heat, excessive heat, or from a water intrusion. Yeah, that's the kind of battery we want to use. But let's not talk about the fact that we're going to have child labor for the cobalt, for the lithium that's coming from China. And the diesel-powered engines in China used to collect that lithium out of those mines. There is more canned hydrocarbon build, carbon footprint, in an electric car before you drive 1 mile than putting 10 years on your gas car. So you're not saving the planet. You're helping destroy it. So that's what they're doing with us. They're trying to get our water supply. They're trying to get our food supply. They're trying to get our children. Maybe Gates is really doing what he said he was going to try to do in 2019 and depopulate the planet by 50%. He said that at the TED conference in 2019 in Canada. So maybe that's the agenda. I don't know. Maybe I should be putting my tinfoil hat on now. But there's almost 8 billion of us on this planet. So are you okay with 4 billion of us being sent to our deathbeds? Either it's because we're too old, or because we need to trim the growth, or a little bit of both. Keep only the strong. The strongest will survive. Of course, we have to program you. We have to brainwash you into believing that the government will provide. Screw that. We are a constitutional republic. We are not a democracy. And the difference is democracies always turn into dictatorships, where constitutional republics are run by the people. I have a website that I've had for about 3 years now. You're welcome to go there. We're in the process of building some more to it. PatriotRoster.com. That's PatriotRoster.com. And by all means, register, and you will achieve the ability to participate in the forums. This is an old-fashioned website. There are forums. There are there's a blog system. There's web page. There is how-tos upon registering. And there's a completely indexed constitutional documents where you can look at any component of our constitutional documents in an indexed fashion. I spent a lot of time on that. So, folks, great news tonight. Let's keep our eyes open and see just where this goes. But we need to already be thinking about the next item. And to me, that is the rescinding and replacing of the National Emergencies Act. So we need to get with Congress, calling your congressmen, your representatives, and your senators, and saying we want to have verbiage in the 1976 National Emergencies Act that will prevent that act from ever being abused the way that this 3-year state of emergency was abused. And then we need to hold those abusers accountable. So, with that, I just wanted to give this quick update. I know it's around dinner time in a lot of areas of the United States, but I felt that it was something that we need to share this out, share this video out. I've got it on Twitter, I've got it on YouTube, I've got it on Cloud Hub and Rumble and Facebook. You can go to any of those and share like crazy. Because we're not done, but we've had a major milestone. So my thanks to everybody for stopping by. Thanks for those who are viewing this after the live. Love all of you. I'm going to say good night, and God bless you, and God bless the United States.